ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. The Tunnel Roads Project, or TRP, was cleared by Karnataka Cabinet on 22nd August 2024. The draft DPR was ready in September 2024, and in December 2024, BBMP unveiled the final feasibility report. We obtained the DPR under RTI. The DPR has clubbed together proposals for tunnel roads, double-deckers, and grade separators, that is, flyovers or elevated corridors, with one of its key objectives as developing a plan to support mobility of public transport users, pedestrians, and cyclists. And one of the main scopes of work as proposing seamless travel solutions such as elevated corridors, tunnels, and underpasses. It proposes two tunnels, 18-kilometer Tunnel 1 between Hebbal and Central Silk Board, or CSB, and 28-kilometer Tunnel 2 between Krishnarajapuram and Nayandahalli. These two documents, prepared and vetted in apparent tearing hurry, seem to raise several questions, flaws, and anomalies about the project. Let us look at a few of these. First, only a couple of the many bloopers in the reports. On 6th January, we were the very first to put out a snip of page 29 of draft DPR, which has Nashik, Malegaon, etc. mentioned. This quickly went viral on social media and also both print and TV media, including at the national level. On 8th Jan, BBMP Chief Commissioner announced that the consultant has formally apologized and has also been levied a penalty of rupees 5 lakhs. On page 476, the table with alignment details of the tunnel states Hebbal as start and Hosur Road as end in both directions. How is that even possible? Such a massive project has reports made and vetted so casually and at lightning speed without due care, attention, and diligence, and that too at high cost, naturally leading to serious doubts about care and competency in actual project execution also. Earlier on 2nd January, we prepared and put out diagrams on X highlighting the fact that alignment of both the tunnels makes them redundant or not necessary because of metro. About 90% of Tunnel 1 between Hebbal and CSB runs well within 1 kilometer from the proposed metro stations of Sarjapura Hebbal Metro, already approved by GOK and awaiting final approval by GOI. Tunnel 1 will have only 3 entry and exit points between the two endpoints, while Metro will have 10 stations between the same two places, making Namma Metro more practical and useful in terms of access. Also, the proposed 28-kilometer Tunnel 2 between KR-Puram and Nayandahalli will have higher redundancy on account of A, existing metro, Whitefield to Kengeri between the same two endpoints, and B, upcoming Corridor 3, again Whitefield to Kengeri of Bengaluru Suburban Rail Project or BSRP between same 2 points, although with different alignment in between. Individual ramps are so long that total length of all 16 ramps, that is for entries and exits, is more than the length of the actual tunnel itself. Average length of ramps is 1.116 kilometers. So each trip of any length through the tunnel road will get added by an average of 2.23 kilometers due to entry and exit ramps. The shortest ramp is 0.36 kilometers and the longest is 1.91 kilometers, almost 2 kilometers. Out of 16 ramps, there are 3 ramps with length below 0.5 kilometers, 4 ramps between 0.5 and 1 kilometer, 6 ramps between 1 kilometer and 1.5 kilometers, and 3 ramps between 1.5 kilometers and 2 kilometers long. We must understand that we cannot get in and get out of tunnels wherever we want to. Apart from the 2 endpoints, provision of entries and exits are only at 3 intermediate points and are planned in a manner which is not suitable for quick entry and exit from or to nearby areas. At most places, it is a simple case of so near yet so far. Let us quickly examine each, since this will go a long way in actual utility of the TRP. At Hebbal, provision is made for entry and exit from and to airport as well as Manyata Tech Park side. But no such provision exists on BEL side or Baptist Hospital side. Vehicles from these two sides will be forced to travel extra 2 to 4 kilometers and take U-turns before entering ramps or after exiting ramps, adding to traffic congestion, fuel loss, air and noise pollution, loss of time, etc. on the surface roads for both tunnel users and non-users of tunnels. Yes, we must also understand how non-users of tunnels will also be adversely affected. Similarly, at Mekri Circle, there is no provision for entry from IISC, Sanjay Nagar, Sadashiv Nagar, and nearby areas to go towards CSB, Central Silk Board. The sole entry is provided near TV Tower. Also, exit from CSB side is close to IISC. There will obviously be massive U-turns ahead of all entries and exits. This will be a nightmare for traffic police and also emergency vehicles like ambulances, fire engines, etc. The situation may keep happening at and outside all tunnel entries and exits. Next, near Basaveshwara or Chalukya Circle, entries and exits for both Hebbal and Central Silk Board have been provided, keeping Vidhan Sauda and surroundings in mind. Single entry for both Hebbal and CSB on Palace Road near Maharani's College will result in massive congestion or gridlock of Palace Road, Sheshadri Road, and nearby areas. This long ramp midway divides into two, one for going towards Hebbal and the other going towards CSB. Even a single vehicle taking a wrong route inside the ramp can result in massive addition to route length at best, and traffic issues or accidents at worst in case the person slows down or tries to reverse. At Lalbagh, there is no entry or exit at all to and from Central Silk Board. This also implies that tunnel entry near Central Silk Board to commute to Lalbagh will not be possible. Finally, the southern end of the tunnel is on Hossu Road, close to St. John's Hospital. Significantly, even though the term CSB is used, the entry and exit on Hossu Road is a good 1.25 kilometers before Central Silk Board. Sarjapura Road outside St. John's Hospital has been provided an entry and exit. There are no entry exits on Adugodi or Christ College site. Even a cursory look at the provisions of entries and exits suggests that the tunnel will be mainly meant for airport side and Manyata Tech Park side, Vidhana Sauda, and Electronic City and Outer Ring Road, and of course, nearby areas. A very large part of Bengaluru, even along the alignment of this 18-kilometer tunnel, will find it challenging to conveniently make use of it. This makes it a non-inclusive mode of commute. Of course, all entries and exits will technically be usable, but at what cost of congestion, distance, time, fuel loss, noise and air pollution is the real question which begs an answer. Additionally, most entries and exits will lead to massive U-turn movements because all entry and exit roads have medians to be crossed. U-turns are a major challenge to provide for, particularly with large number of vehicles. They need wider turning radius and also lead to blockage of vehicles not using the U-turn, adding to traffic congestion. Initial cost estimate of 18-kilometer Hebbal CSB tunnel is rupees 15,000 crores and completion time is 5 years. These estimates are not realistic and are likely to be almost double, that is closer to rupees 30,000 crores and 10 years. The basis for this is no rocket science to understand. Most BMRCL tunnels have taken almost double the cost and duration initially planned. And road tunnels are much bigger and complex than metro tunnels. More important, what experience and competence does BBMP have to carry out, supervise, and certify such projects? They have failed to instill confidence with a long list of infra projects headed by, yes, Ejipura flyover. Also, in the case of TRP, there are additional factors of service disruptions and restorations due to underground pipes and cables getting damaged, possible accidents, landfall or rockfall, waterlogging, competence, constant care, and equipment to ensure foolproof construction, unlike surface roads, and also unknown factors which will come into play. Delays will definitely lead to cost escalation. That's a vicious cycle. Initial cost estimate of the 28-kilometer KR Puram to Nayandhali tunnel is about rupees 25,000 crores. On 25th Jan, BBMP called for DPR consultancy for this tunnel. Both tunnels, totaling about 46 kilometers, have an initial total cost estimate of rupees 40,000 crores. With this amount, each district of Karnataka can get an average of rupees 1,300 crores for development. One of the advantages claimed for TRP was tree cutting is not required for tunnels. On the face of it, this seems true. But on page 60, the DPR states trees coming under tunnel, intermediate ramp approaches, cut and cover and open cut section, and vertical shaft locations will be required to be relocated. So there will be tree cutting. Another advantage claimed for TRP was no land acquisition required. On the face of it, this too seems true. Apart from ramps, huge vertical shafts of 100 meters by 50 meters footprint will be provided at 5 locations: Hebbal, Palace Road, Racecourse, Lalbagh, and Silk Board. Land acquisition, whether government or private, will be required. On page 60, the DPR states land acquisition will be required at tunnel approaches, main tunnel and intermediate ramps, in cut and cover section and open cut sections. Apart from this, land acquisition will be required at TBM launching and retrieval locations, which shall be used as ventilation and intermodal terminal. Such a massive project and first-time project for Bengaluru definitely needs careful and comprehensive study and planning by domain experts, along with fair, real, and transparent stakeholder and public consultation. It is crystal clear there is no widespread or popular demand for tunnel roads from Bengaluru citizens. We carried out an open public poll on X, formerly Twitter, twice, and both results gave about 90% for better public transport and only about 10% opted for tunnel roads. On 23rd Jan, the Deputy CM, in his letter addressed to the Finance Minister of India, stated, the draft DPR prepared is published for the opinion of the general public. However, formal publishing of the draft DPR as well as notification calling for objections and suggestions from public are both awaited. On page 55, the DPR brazenly goes on to state, hence, this does not call for any detailed EIA, that is Environment Impact Assessment, and public hearing from the regulatory point of view. Going ahead without public consultation for such a project is undemocratic and also unfair to the 2 crore people living in and around Bengaluru, because not only will we ultimately end up paying for this directly or indirectly, all the ill effects of this project, both during construction and during usage, will have to be borne even by non-users of tunnel roads. This is indeed a shocker. Within a city, toll is generally not levied. The suggested toll is double the per kilometer fuel cost of even petrol cars, which is about 8 to 10 rupees per kilometer. Paying about rupees 300 per trip through this 18-kilometer tunnel is sure to drastically reduce its patronage, resulting in slower recovery of investments, leading to frequent raising of the toll. This may turn into a vicious cycle leading to higher congestion on the surface roads. Also, toll will make the TRP a non-inclusive mode of commute. We carried out an open public poll on X, formerly Twitter, which closed on 28 Jan, and the results gave 88.4% for will not use tunnel and only 11.6% for will use tunnel based on the toll. Now, consultants are expected to mine latest data and use it for calculations. But in this case, about 5 to 6 years old data is recklessly being used for bus, metro, and suburban rail. Also, the DPR on page 6 states the present day vehicle population of the city is about 85 lakhs. This is outdated again by about 5 to 6 years. The present vehicular population in the city is widely known to be 120 lakhs. Yes, Bengaluru is globally infamous for traffic congestion and all its consequences. But there is a bigger challenge we face, Niru. For over 2 crore people in and around Bengaluru, water is pumped up about 1,000 feet from River Kaveri, about 100 kilometers away. Bengaluru has been experiencing both flooding and drought. Water must be handled in an extremely sensitive and sensible manner. We have already lost the pristine river Vrishabhavati, which once flowed across Bengaluru, and we have also lost hundreds of lakes. This tunnel and its ramps shockingly run very close to Hebbar Lake and also cut under and across the overflow canal from Hebbar Lake to Nagavara Lake. The entire ecosystem of the lakes is bound to be adversely affected. Water aquifers along the entire length of the tunnel and the ramps are bound to be disrupted with grave consequences for water bodies, including wells and bore wells and their associated ecosystem. Contamination of water and soil due to TRP is another challenge. The 2 tunnels, one for each direction, and their 2 ramps also cut under and across Lal Bagh, our revered botanical garden, with one of the ramps being very close to the Lal Bagh Lake. During construction of metro tunnels, which have outer diameter of 6.5 meters, Bengaluru has been experiencing massive disruptions of both traffic and services for years together. Now, TRP's tunnels are much bigger with outer diameter of 14.6 meters. Gap between 2 tunnels, one for each direction, will be at least 30 meters. This implies that in a width of say 60 to 100 meters, there will be 2 tunnels of diameter about 15 meters each. All nearby areas, whether they can use the tunnel or not, will have disruption of services and traffic due to construction of tunnel, as well as the 16 long ramps, approach roads for having machinery and material using massive vehicles, movement of huge trucks laden with debris to be shifted to landfills, transportation of construction material, and so on. Traffic police will be required to barricade nearby roads and reroute traffic through alternate routes to facilitate the work. Construction work may lead to massive noise pollution, even vibrations in nearby areas, and if carried out at night, it will cause further problems. We must understand the massive environmental devastations of tunnel roads. Tunneling for roads is a complex job requiring specialized equipment, manpower, and expertise. Apart from tree cutting for ramps, the primary environmental disadvantage of tunnel roads in cities are many, including but not limited to potential damage to existing ecosystems, habitat destruction, and biodiversity loss during construction, soil instability leading to erosion, and so on. Heavy machinery, blasting, and soil removal will disrupt local ecosystems, affecting local flora and fauna. Tunnel excavation can alter and disrupt natural water flows and affect groundwater recharge areas. Dewatering processes often lead to sediment runoff, impacting nearby water bodies. Chemicals used for maintaining pH near tunnels, like bentonite, can contaminate water and soil. Tunnel air temperature may be a significant environmental issue in very long tunnels due to the heat that emanates from vehicles, particularly where the ambient temperature is already high outside. And Bengaluru's tunnels at 18 and 28 kilometers will indeed be one of the longest tunnels in the world. And Bengaluru's ambient temperatures are rising. Tunnels, being confined spaces, pose a greater environmental threat due to vehicle emissions. Significant percentage of vehicles in Bengaluru are not compliant with laws related to air and noise pollution. High concentration of pollutants can accumulate inside tunnels due to emissions. At the portals, that is entries and exits, and at ventilation shafts, polluted air will be let out since the longitudinal airflow is discharged by the piston effect of traffic or by the ventilation systems. During construction, high noise level is often generated. Also, high volumes of vehicles can generate large noise levels. Noise pollution in and near the tunnel due to unnecessary, loud, and shrill honking, which seems to be part of our DNA, will be massive. The noise gets further amplified in enclosed areas like tunnels and ramps. Critical round the clock ventilation, lighting systems with backups can consume huge amounts of energy. Necessary equipment will also include pollution meters, video cameras, traffic sensing devices, fire detection systems, and so on. Now, pages 522, 523, and 524 have listing of benefits under these heads: aesthetics and urban landscape, surface land availability, noise pollution, environmental disruption, safety, only vis-a-vis rain, snow, and wind, traffic and pedestrian flow, disruptive impact of construction, maintenance, and initial cost. In each of these, the report claims benefits over elevated structures, but the reports are silent on the fact that there is no mountain, no water body or sea, no ecologically sensitive areas to be crossed, and no drastic reduction in travel distance, for all of which TRPs can be thought of, that too only after all other options become impractical or have been exhausted. Surprisingly, there is no mention of disadvantages or challenges of TRP and how they will be addressed. Even for a 5 rupees tablet, one can easily find side effects and complications listed and explained. But this rupees 40,000 crore project has no disadvantages or demerits or challenges specifically explained or addressed in the reports. In fact, on pages 22 and 23, the DPR brazenly says the plan has infringement with ongoing and planned work of BMRCL and K-Ride, and these are put under discussion required. For rupees 40,000 crores, instead of 46 kilometers tunnels, we can have 80 plus kilometers of metro, or 300 plus kilometers of suburban rail, or 40,000 e-buses at the very least, and much quicker too. Most of the claimed benefits of reduced commute, fuel saving, reduction in air and noise pollution, etc., will be significantly negated in ramp commute as well as in reaching the ramps or after exiting them. The saddest part is that non-users of tunnel roads will also have to go through the negative impacts due to increased traffic near the ramps, adding to losses in their commute time, cost, and of course, air and noise pollution. All in all, TRP will lead to overall and general loss in quality of life. The entire project conceptualization and planning reeks of undue haste, lack of transparency, and of course, due process not being followed. Taking up of TRP by BBMP with no public representatives, that is corporators, in BBMP is in itself a major disconnect with public. Even the MLAs and MPs of Bengaluru have not yet been formally involved in this huge project. The TRP is not part of the Comprehensive Mobility Plan or CMP already prepared by BMRCL with DULT support. In December 22, the Bengaluru Metropolitan Land Transport Authority or BMLTA Act was passed. BMLTA is the apex authority responsible for preparing the CMP for the city and also for implementing and monitoring all transport related projects. But even after 25 months, for reasons not known, the BMLTA has not yet been constituted while ad hoc projects are being proposed. Metropolitan Planning Committee or MPC has not cleared the TRP. There is no information in public domain regarding stand of stakeholders like DULT, BTP, Bengaluru Traffic Police, BESCOM, BWSSB, BMRCL, K-Ride, BMTC, etc. regarding the tunnel road project. Of course, BBMP is fully in tune with the projects since it is the executing agency. There is no formal public consultation yet. The haste in planning this project until now is unprecedented. To conclude, it is globally an accepted fact that after a certain level, the only way forward to reduce traffic congestion is not by building more roads, widening roads, making elevated roads or tunnel roads, but by massive and quick improvements to all options of public transport to make them extensive, effective, efficient, and reliable. In addition to improving walkability, cyclability, drainage system, traffic management, implementation of robust parking policy, elimination of dark, black, and yellow spots, and so on. We have been urging that Bengaluru must be converted into a sponge city to reduce flooding and to raise the water table. Bengaluru already has over 10,000 kilometers of roads. More roads within the city will obviously encourage more private vehicles, which will add to congestion. We have already reached an unsustainable and dubious distinction of having almost as many vehicles as there are people. The rate of growth of both population and vehicles must be brought down by developing other cities and towns in Karnataka and also by improving their connectivity with Bengaluru. So, Bengaluru's proposed tunnel road project must be dropped and focus must be shifted where most needed. We fervently appeal to Government of Karnataka to drop the tunnel road project, and we hope Government of Karnataka will be responsive to overwhelming public opinion as depicted by media, social media, petition, and letters. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.